Hi, welcome to G Suite Everything Training. In this section, we're actually looking at TryBooking, which is the platform BYS uses for their events. And so we've already logged in on the dashboard. Remember, if you want to find out more about the different digital platforms BYS uses for things, you can click onto the intranet, their Buyer New Service intranet, scroll down the homepage, and you'll see Understanding What Digital Tools BYS uses. It gives you like the action, description, and what platform we're using with the login there. So that's what I refer to when I need to log into something. So we're looking specifically at TryBooking and how to get data out of TryBooking and how to collect data in TryBooking. And that's so when we have events, sometimes there's extra information you might like to collect on the participants, for example. Demographic type information or specific questions that relate back to a grant that you've got. So flea market is a really good example of the event that BYS runs that needs to collect extra information to report back effectively for their grant. I'll show that as an example in a second, but first of all, I'm going to show you how to set up this, how to collect this extra information. So looking at dashboard, on the left-hand side, you see this section called templates, and it's got data collection templates. And this is where you set up the questions that you want to ask for an event. And the great thing about doing it in the template area is that you could set up a generic type of questions that you might like to then attach to more than one event. Lots of different future events. Okay, so we've already got one set up called the Buyer and Flea Market. I'm going to click on it and show you what it is. So in the Buyer and Flea Market, we set it up, and these are called fields, and they're basically questions. So for example, if I click on this, attendance, the field says, the label is attendance. It's a mandatory question, so you can choose whether it's a compulsory thing they have to answer when they buy their ticket or not. If you want to collect accurate data, you really should make it mandatory when they buy their ticket. Then in the header is where I've put some more details. Is this the first time you are doing a buyer and flea market? So, and then you'd click save. So I'll show you one more. And the value type was yes or no they could input. Items for sale. Let's look at that one. So in the field, I've just put the heading items for sale. It's a mandatory one again. And then in the header I've put the more detailed question. What are you intending on selling at the markets? That's so people applying for markets can be vetted before they kind of come in. So that's the example. Now, the reason so see how this one's got, how did you hear about us? The actual questions in the field part. The reason I'm using field and headers for questions is the field section in this label only gives you about 30 characters you can use, and then it won't let you type any more letters. So if that's the case, it's a bit of a longer question. You use this header to put in the actual question or more details there. And all these questions, when people go through purchasing the ticket, they pop up at the very end and they answer them. They don't look anything like this for the end user. They look a little different. Very easy for them to answer questions. So let's just go back to data collection templates. Oh, we're on the buyer and flea market one. I want to go back. Here we go. So here we are. Now, let's say we want to actually create our own new type of template with specific questions. You'd put your template name in, test 1, or you might do generic events. And then you literally go add field, and you type your label in or your question in there if it fits. If not, you flick to header and type your question in there. You decide whether it's going to be a mandatory type question or not. Highly recommend you click yes, I guess. Or you might have something like, would you like to subscribe to our newsletter? That doesn't have as well. Field type, this is where you choose what type of question is. So if it's a yes or no, if it's a single line text, multi-line, list of values, date, that kind of thing. So a little bit similar to Google Forms and how you choose the questions inside Google Forms. So you would go and do save and close. Oh, it's still wanting me, like, let's just put test 1 in there. It's not mandatory. The field type is single line, save and close. And there we are. That's like the first question for this template called test 1. And you then would go in and add your fields as you need to. Right, so that's setting up the template. That's setting up the type of data collection question sets you want. Then now if you're actually looking at an event, when you go to create your event, this is then how you attach those things to the event. So I'm going to look at a past event just as an example that doesn't have a data collection added to it right now. So this BYS end of year celebration, we'll click on that and we'll look at it, right? So once you set up all your event and you've got it there, this additional information on the left-hand side, click on data collection. And it asks you, do you want to collect data for this event? And you can go yes and decide. So you might only want to collect the information once per booking. And you go, yes, I do. See, it pops up this data collection template thing again, where you can create it inside the event for that event. But the best way is just import the template that you've already done, and you can click on the one you want and add it to, I'll just click on one, test 1, okay. And it adds it to your event and you press save. And you would do this before you released your event out to the public so that you've got that data collection added to it. Okay, so that's how you set it up so you can collect information at events. Now I'm really going to quickly show you how to get that information back out of TryBooking so that you can use it in a spreadsheet. So when you decide you want to do that, you go down to reports and you click over on this export data section. And it's asking you what event, guys, don't talk while I'm doing this, please. Asks you what kind of event you want to have the data downloaded from. So you would choose that. Let's have a look at what you can click. So then you click what things you want. So we want first name, last name is really good, and email. They're the things you would click if you wanted to download everyone's email addresses to upload then into our e-newsletter like Constant Contact and grow our subscription base there. Watch down the bottom here and you'll see that when I choose an event like Byron Flea Market, all these extra things popped up, and that's because they're the extra, that's the data template that was attached to that event, which asked these questions, and they're the extra things that we collected. So then you would click what you wanted from your event, so those specific questions you wanted. And you could also add the question in, would you like to subscribe to our e-news, and then you know who to download out of your TryBooking, who attended an event, who wants to then go and be subscribed into the e-news platform. So once you've clicked all the information, data that you want out of the particular backend here, you would go export. And it will export that out for you. And then you can go and download it. Oh, it's saying no data to be displayed, and that's because this event didn't happen because COVID was on. So if it did happen and people answered the questions, you'd be able to export data out of that particular event. Hope that helped. Sorry about the long video. And your task now is to actually go into TryBooking and set up a data collection template, and do maybe look at perhaps BYS and the type of generic extra data you might need to collect from your events, and put together some fields and questions in that template and attach it to an event you create. And you can let me know once you've done that if you'd like help or checking on that. That would be, I'm here to help you with that. Okay, over and out. Bye.